listening to the Joe Cronin Show.
But people ask me, like, are there any regrets? I said, not really. And
Yeah.
I guess, the if there was a regret, it would probably be this. The one thing that I didn't get to do before he died was bury the hatchet with the Ultimate Warrior. Um, everybody who follows knows that there was love lost between me and a number of wrestlers and Jim Hellwig. But when the company came out and extended the leaf of, okay, let's forget about this. Let's put you in the Hall of Fame.
Right.
I thought it was the classy thing to do. I'm a minister. I preach forgiveness all the time.
Yeah.
But what I want the fans to understand is, where all of this came from. Don't forget where it all came from. In other words, the reason Vince put out that DVD called The Self-Destruction of the Ultimate Warrior was because of things, and all the things that were said in that were based. What's funny is, like, if you went back and you watched that and you listened to all the guys that were interviewed, they all collectively said the same thing, but we were all interviewed separately.
Yeah.
If you follow me. So,
they just put all the negatives.
Here's where I understood. I didn't understand Warrior. I could, because I grew up in the business, and the business has been a part of my life my entire life. So
right.
When you come into my business, you're joining the family.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And that's something that Jim never did. It was like, it didn't seem to me that he was ever grateful for any of the things that the people did for him. And somebody said that something like the art of war, like, he kind of looked at this as like, it's a cutthroat business, and, whatever I have to do to be number one, I'll do. If that means stepping on you, I will.
Right.
But when he was being inducted in the Hall of Fame, and he said that his wife and his children were there, and his mother was there, but that his father had abandoned them when he was very young.
Yeah.
Again, I'm a minister now. I said, there it is.
Mm-hmm.
There's the source of the anger. There's the source of why he was the way he was. And of course, I didn't know any of that stuff. And so it's like, if you don't want to be around us, and it's like, Jim was one of those guys. He had high energy, he had a lot of charisma, unbelievable body, but unless he had somebody to really guide him in the ring, he was pretty much helpless.
Right.
And so, and there's been a lot of guys like that, but they all appreciate it. And it's like, we just never felt that he appreciated anything. It was almost like he said, it's like, I'm just using you. And at one point, he talked, I think he said something about the check that bounced. Well, that is referring to a check that he forced Vince to write.
Yeah.
Before he went on a pay-per-view, where he said he wasn't going to go on.
Yeah. That was the big one with Sergeant Slaughter, right? That was the...
Yeah. It's a big show, and he's not only, but he's not just screwing Vince, he's screwing the whole company.
Everybody.
Because Vince will have to give all the money back. And this is a guy that Vince had taken in, and nobody else went to Vince's house and slept there. It's like, I think Vince kind of, felt sorry for him. But again, so he even abused that.
Yeah.
At the time. So again, fast forward, at the WrestleMania where he was inducted, when it was over, and he took some people said he paid me a compliment, but he really didn't. But whatever it was, I was just kind of like, gosh, man,
Yeah.
But when it was over that night, I started to go backstage. Just, I haven't had the chance to do this. And I was going to go back there and speak with him, shake his hand, congratulate him, and say, let's just forget about all this. It's the past. Because we all make mistakes and we all change. But then I thought, well, you know what? This is his night. And I'm probably one of the last people he's going to want to see coming.
Right.
And I hesitated. I said, I'll have another opportunity to do this, and I will. if I ever feel that way again, I'll never hesitate, because I was just absolutely shocked.
Yeah.
A few days later when he died. So that would probably be my only regret, and I just wanted to share that with the fans so they know that I bear no ill will. We all make mistakes in our life, and I'm just I just regret that I had the opportunity to shake his hand and congratulate him and bury the hatchet.
Hello, everybody there, right there on the Joe Cronin Show. It's the hardcore legend Mick Foley wishing you and everyone the very best.
This is the Epic Voice Guy, and I can honestly say Joe Cronin is God. Attitude Insanity, over 10 million views. Don't forget to like, comment, and body slam that subscribe button. The Joe Cronin Show is brought to you by WrestleCrate. WrestleCrate.com. Use the coupon code JoeSendMe for 10% off the month subscription box.